Is this thing on? Ready for the day with the J's on the feet, honey. Big pimple on the track. Without my coffee, I'm dead. We're gonna set on the cream. I actually want iced coffee today instead of a hot coffee. Maybe I'm just not that interesting. I was very unlucky. I'ma yell at you!
Whoa!
Don't yell at me! It's too early!
Okay.
Good morning. It's too early. I wanted an iced coffee, but I grabbed the hot coffee cup. And then I transferred it to the iced coffee cup. I want an iced coffee. And he had the audacity to yell at me. Out of the morning, baby boy. Don't you dare yell at me. I'm a grown woman. I live in Hollywood, so every morning we walk past the little stars. Baby girl, it's motivation, honey. You see this one? Okay, wait. Blank, honey, that's mine. Story time. Okay. I've never gotten into depth of how I made it here to this exact spot. Walking on Hollywood Boulevard, 19 years young. Honey, we did. I was born, okay, honey, West Original Mark Underhill, the first. Okay. Now, for some of you guys who may not know, I was adopted by my grandmother. Okay, y'all. I was adopted by her. She's a lovely alcoholic lady. Love her little drunk self. They call her Smokey, honey. She works at the bar. Okay. She got some issues, but we love her. Okay, she's a bomb diggity but that. Okay. My mother and my father were not in the picture for basically my whole life. My mother went to prison and she lost all of her kids. And my dad, I didn't meet him until I was 17. So really I just grew up with my grandmother and my siblings. So there's that, except my little drunk grandma. I love her, but I couldn't handle her when I was young. I was a lot. I was actually, as a teenager, I was going through anxiety problems, PTSD, depression. So we moved out of there. We were I moved out first when I was 15, went back later when I was still 15, but officially moved out when I was 16. So I was out in the streets, honey. Okay, I moved in with my best friend and her family. They took me in. They're my god family, and I love them so much. Fast forward through all of that. I was not the most traditional student in school, and so I dropped out. Well, I was super truant my 8th grade year, and then I officially dropped out when I was a freshman. And then after being a freshman, so the whole sophomore year, I was just being wild. And then after sophomore year, I went back to school junior year and kind of did it. We kind of did it. We learned a lot in those little 2 years from my junior year into a little bit of my senior year. Except by the end of it, honey, they told me I was going to be a super senior, and I said no. Could not do that. I'm best friend. We got to go. If this in a timeline, I would have just graduated 2 months ago. I was in LA for almost 2 years. No, I was not. No, and that was a very hard decision to make. But it was a very necessary decision that I had to make. And so, boom, ba-da-ba-ba. We all were like, okay, was not working. It was not working. So we came up with this master evil Knievel plan to just get on a one-way ticket and move to LA. Long story short, complications came along with my other friends. And at the time, I had already dropped out of school, really, and I wanted to go, and nobody was gonna come with me, and so I made the executive decision to leave by myself. It was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make ever. It was also one of the very first decisions that I made with the wholeheartedly intent of thinking about me. I did not think about anybody else in that decision. I was not worried about anybody else in the decision. I was being very selfish in that decision. And I'm glad I don't regret it, even though there are many things that I wish I could do. Like, I wish I was wealthy enough to just like fly home whenever I wanted to. I tell you, playing at LAX, like what? Whew. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't have no plan. I tried to book a hotel room before I got off the plane, but I guess they had this dumb rule where you can only book a hotel 24 hours in advance, and that was not 24 hours in advance. So when I got off that plane, I didn't have nowhere to go. And tell me how this is under the tea. So when I got off the plane, my suitcase was broke. They broke my suitcase. I mean, like, I stuffed it to the brim, so it was kind of my fault that it was broken. I've been broken or then I broke it, you know? So the wheel on my suitcase was popped off. Okay. By the way, I came here with 2 suitcases and $200. No plan. I knew one person out here who, Lord help me, she has helped me so much. I have some distant family out here that I'm not really close with on my dad's side. I'm still kind of iffy about having a dad. But, so, yeah. Came here, $200, 2 suitcases. Got off the plane, they broke. My wheel popped off. The thing, you know, the pull that comes off was broke too. So then I got on the flyway. Now the flyway is basically this bus that leaves from LAX, and it stops in Hollywood. I think it stops somewhere around Compton, and I think it stops at Union Station. I think there's a stop downtown and one in Santa Monica, if I'm not mistaken. So when I got off, so I got on this flyway. Mind you, it's $10. So 200 minus 10, 190, honey. By the way, I flew Spirit, and on Spirit, you gotta pay to breathe, baby girl. So when I flew Spirit, you know, I probably spent like $20. I remember I got a muffin and a bottle of water. No, I got a muffin and some coffee, because if I kept getting water, I would have had to buy new waters. Versus if I got coffee, it was free restock. So I got me some coffee, and I was just drinking coffee like, ooh, I see a daddy, baby girl.
Pick it up right here.
Yay. Okay, so we get in on the airplane. No, I'm just kidding. So we just got our little badge. So do you guys want to see my school? This is Los Angeles Film School, honey. I am in their Associates of Music Production program, honey. We about to be mixing, engineering, producing, doing what the fuck we does, honey. And we got the curls and everything for it. Okay, stunning bad looks. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Spin around. Okay. So I'm about to walk into my classroom, and we will finish this conversation. Okay, love you, bye. Hey, folks. So, where were we? Okay, so I could not find a hotel room for anything in this world, honey. So what I ended up doing, okay, I touched on how I couldn't, okay, tried to book one, couldn't book one. So the LA Flyway took me to Union Station, right? And so I was at Union Station. Mind you, I've never been here. I don't know where I am, like, at all. And it was scary, y'all. So I got off at Union Station. Union Station is really close to Chinatown. It's really not, but it kind of is. While I was on the flyway, don't do this, but it happened. So while I was on the flyway, it was about an hour drive from the airport, because that is like West LA, kinda. It's towards the beach. So when that all went down, when I was on that train, fucking bus thing, I met this girl. Her name was Jenny. I don't know how I remember it, but I just remember her name was Jenny. I have her number and I have her on Snapchat. Thank you, Jenny, if you ever watch this. She was the first person I met in LA, and she was really kind to me. She was actually coming from work. So she worked at the airport, so I figured, like, if the lady worked at the airport, like, maybe she was kind of cool. And so I was talking with Jenny. I told her my situation, and she was kind of inspired / shook / scared / like, confused for me. She was with me in that journey. I explained the whole situation. And so when we got to Union Station, Jenny's boyfriend was coming to pick her up from Union Station. And so by the time, through the bus ride that I was on to Union Station, somehow I was able to book a room. But okay, so my dilemma was people wanted a credit card. People wanted a credit card that they could charge the hotel room. I only had cash. I had $200 cash, and so it's either hotels want you to have a credit card, or they want you to be 21 just to make sure like you are an illegit adult and you're not going to mess up their hotel room. So that was my dilemma, and I really couldn't find a hotel room that would allow either one of those. And so the hotel that I ended up calling and asking if they had a room available, they said they did, except when I got there at a shift change. And so this was a hotel in Chinatown, so there was a small language barrier. I got there during shift change, and the person who I originally spoke to was leaving, and a new person was coming onto the shift. And the new person who came onto the shift, when I got inside and I gave them my ID, the new person was like, I'm not letting you have the hotel room because you're 18. That guy may have let you have the hotel room, but me, no, you're not here on my shift, point blank period. He's told me straight up no. And so I was distraught, to be honest. I was completely shot down. I was exhausted. I just got off a 6-hour flight. I just had landed into a foreign country. I just drove to this random hotel in the middle of Chinatown that I've never been to a Chinatown to get a hotel room so I could go to sleep and try and figure out what I'm gonna do with my life. And they told me no, and my suitcase was broken, and so I got a ride to that hotel. But when I was leaving, you know, Jenny and her man done got on. They went home to their nice little comfy crib. She did her job as a decent human being to like help me as far as they could. Like, they took me to the hotel from Union Station, which was it was a little drive, and then she helped me her boyfriend helped me get my bags from their car into the hotel room. Mind you, they had everything I owned, so I didn't really know. They were heavy. That's what I was thinking. They were heavy. And this man just told me no. And so I leave this hotel, and I'm from Wisconsin, so I was wearing a fur coat. I left February 2nd. So I left in jeans, a sweatshirt. It was my Tommy Hilfiger like half shirt. It's kind of like a bigger crop top, but like it's still a half shirt. And my fur coat, and I had a full head of hair. My hair was down to my shoulders, and it was purple. And I did not know what to do. 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 I really wanted to cry. I'm not a big crier, but I really wanted to cry. Couldn't do that. And so I got on my phone, and I called around to another hotel. And I went to that other hotel. I dragged my suitcase to that other hotel. And they told me they only had one room left. So I had to get that room, so I had to get there in a decent time. So I was kind of like running almost. I was just hot. I was distraught. I was tired. I get there. And the man told me that he had no vacancies. Told me on the phone there was a vacancy. I get there, Somebody must have took that last room. Except he was really kind. He was really kind. And I told him my situation. And he felt really bad for me, low-key. And he was just so super kind about it. And then he was like, okay, well, I know that hotel. I know the people who own it. The people who run that hotel also run this hotel. He called over there and told them to, like, let me get a room. He told me, you know, that guy who just came, younger, you should, like, let him get the room, you know? And so I went, and he was like, okay, I'm going to call you a cab. So I get in the cab knowing that I really didn't have cab fare. But he basically, like, insisted upon it, and I was tired, I was hot, I had those bags. It was too much. And I got a mosquito bite. And so, yeah, I went back to that hotel, and he did not let me get my room. He was like, oh, you again? No. So I charged into the game, and I went, and I walked a little bit, and I went and sat at this bus stop. Was not waiting for the bus. Just sat at that bus stop, and I had to think. It was maybe 2 hours after I've gotten into Los Angeles, and I was already I didn't know what to do. I honestly did not know what to do, how to do it, where to start, where to go, who to call, what to think. I was honestly scared and alone, and I'm not going to stress this enough, hot. I was hot. Heated. I kept getting rejected by these hotels. And so I sat there and thought. And then I went, I finally got up. I was hungry. I tried to get some food from the gas station that I was outside of. I'm from Wisconsin. We don't have the box gas stations. I was confused about the concept of this box gas station. You know, when you order things through the window, I didn't do it because I was confused and I was scared. And then I figured out that it wasn't even a real. No, it was. I was confused. And so I went and I walked. Also, I'm in Chinatown, Midtown LA. No, that's downtown LA for sure. Downtown LA. 2 in the morning? 1 in the morning? 12? I was so scared. I was shook. I was scared. Like, it literally was scary. Like, it was dark. Everything was closed. There were, on the windows, honey, I'm from Wisconsin. What bars? What you need bars in your window for? So, the environment really triggered me, and I was just confused. So I went and sat on this bench, and I prayed. And I was like, you made the decision to come here, and you can't go back now. Like, you can't go back to the way things were. This was an executive decision. You live here now. You better figure it out. You better figure it out. So I figured it out, and I went and I walked to that bus stop, and I sat there and I prayed. There was a homeless man on the bench. He was knocked out. There was a woman. The homeless man was on the right, and this woman was reading a book on the left. And so she had her headphones on. I bowed my head for a minute. I finally got up, and she kind of was like, I feel like she was waiting for me to stop praying. And she kind of asked me, like, what's that? I don't remember how. No, I think I asked her somewhere to charge my phone. Because my phone was done. My phone was dead already, I think. No, it was dying. It was dying. And I told her my situation. I've told my situation to almost every person who I came across in that night, because you could read it on my face. I was stressing. And she was like, I don't know any hotels for you, but I salute what you're doing, and I hope it works out for you. here's my email. She gave me her email address if I ever needed anything or something. Like, wasn't too much. She worked in theater, not like a big, humongous, like fancy theater, but just like a regular theater. And so I'm about to get off the bus. So bear with me, y'all. Okay. I'm just vlogging on this bus. Everybody's listening, honey. I know I'm fascinating. So, lady, okay. She didn't know what to tell me. I didn't know what to tell my damn self. What she ended up doing was she gave me her email address. I never followed up with her, but I appreciated the vibe that she gave. And from that, I was sitting on the bench, and there was a bus coming soon. We knew that the bus was coming. And there was the homeless man who was asleep, kind of like woke up out of his sleep and overheard our conversation. And so he kind of mumbled something. And I was like, what is it that you just mumbled? And he said that there's a hotel up in Washington Heights, I remember. Then they'll give me a room, and if they don't give me a room, I can just go home with this homeless man, is what he said. I looked at him like, this is exactly. But I did take it as a sign, like, I know this hotel room over in this Washington Heights. That was my only hope. I looked up on my Google. My Google said there was no hotel rooms in the area. Nobody was renting to me. He said they'll give it to you. I just took it as a sign. Like, I'm literally fucking waiting on the bench. And honestly, like, I am very... If we're going to start our YouTube journey today, we have to be honest, right? We have to be honest. Like, I really have to be invasive and let y'all know the real motherfucking tea, because, honey, I be shook, honey. So, as some of you guys may not know, like, I feel like I touched on it earlier, but I was definitely homeless from the age of 16. Categorized as homeless. I always had a place to lay my head, but I was homeless from the age of 16 until now, still, technically. You'll see why now, technically. You're about to see my Hollywood apartment, so don't violate me, honey. But still technically a homeless youth. Like, we'll touch down on it. We'll get there. This is going to be a long video. So, blah, 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 blah. We fucking get into the motherfucking thing. We get on that bus, and we go to this hotel that this homeless man recommended me. And by the good glory of God, after I prayed, after I did not cry, but really was crying on the inside, after meeting Jenny, after hotel, after getting rejected, after dragging my broken suitcase around town, I got there, and they said they have one room. I got the last room. My friend that I mentioned earlier, I called my friend, I called her, but she didn't answer. And I messaged her, and she didn't answer. Mind you, she was not involved in this decision-making process of me coming to LA. She had nothing to do with it. I knew her from back in the day. She was one of my old bosses for a youth program I did when I was like 14 or 15. She always looked out for me back then. I was following her on social media, and one day I realized, I saw her. She was socially on media with her move to LA to go to college, and I saw that, and I knew that she lived in LA, and I always looked up to that. I was like, that's iconic as fuck, but she did it properly. So I think we're just gonna sit right here, because I have some stuff to tell y'all, vlogging style. I'm really avoiding doing my homework right now. So I messaged her, called her, she didn't answer, got that hotel room, touched down with all my family members. So I asked if I could book this hotel room for 2 days, and I couldn't. This is the only night they could have it, and honestly, I couldn't afford it. The hotel room was $100, so now we were down to $70. We were down to $70, 2 suitcases, and a dream, and a personality, and some fucking bomb-ass purple hair. And that's all we had, really, in the beginning. And so that happened, and once that did, Woke up the next day. I got terrible sleep. I was jet lagged. I had to wake up early to figure out what I was going to do. And I went to Goodwill because throughout this whole night of turmoil and confusion and being lost and scared, I got to the point where I was like, the kicker of the night was really when it came down to that suitcase that I was dragging with me that was broken, because it was dragging on the ground and it was heavy and I was dragging it and it hurt my arms. I had to keep switching arms. I had my purse. I had another carry-on bag. So I just had a lot of stuff. And the suitcase was broken, so I couldn't carry that around with me. I needed a new suitcase. So I woke up early and I couldn't buy a brand new suitcase, so I had to go to Goodwill to get a suitcase. That was just the conclusion that I came up to. So I did that, and I got this big it was old and it was like falling apart, but it was good. It lasted me a long time. So I used that suitcase and I put everything. I put all the stuff that was in that one suitcase. I put my carry-on bag, I put my purse, and I put my mother other suitcase. I put everything. So while I was at Goodwill, my friend called. My friend called from the day before. And when she called me, I told her my situation. Just landed. She was like, "Where are you?" I told her my location. She said, "Stay there. I'm coming right now." She said, "I'm coming to get you." Because she knew what my life was before I came here. Filled her in on the details of what it came to before I came here and what led me here. And she was like, "What are you gonna do?" And I was just like, "I want to live here. I live here now. I want to start a new life." And she was nothing but supportive. And I don't know if it's like okay to just tell her name, but like, yeah. So I did that. That was my life. And I had someone there for me. Somebody who knew what the fuck they were doing. And luckily that the stars aligned the way they did, because she was actually in youth work, nonprofit community leadership work when I met her. And she moved to LA to further her education into social work. And so she had the networks that I really needed, the resources that I really needed at that moment in my life. And I stayed in that hotel room that first night, and that whole next day we got together. We were together. She picked that. So I got there, spent the night at a hotel, called my friend, met with my friend. That whole day, it was a Saturday, we were scouring the streets for resources. She hit up everybody she knew, every social worker connect, every networking connect she had, everybody, people she's worked with in the past and projects. She hit the whole 9 yards. We looked up on Google. We called 411, honey. We called every motherfucking everywhere. But it was a Saturday and everything was really closed, low key. Usually they're Monday through Friday operations. So we called Children of the Night because some people, like, I'm never gonna really touch too much on detail in that part of my life, but I do have a CSEC background. If you guys don't know what that is, look into it, look it up, get educated. But that was a resource that was available to me, and particularly people like me. And we got connected with them. They told me about a new youth shelter that had just recently opened up in South Central, and we went to check it out. Honey, I'm from Wisconsin. I keep saying that because, like, Wisconsin to LA is a culture shock. Culture shock. Culture shock. And a lonely culture shock because I was in it alone. I was not used to it. So culture shock. South Central. Anybody who doesn't know, South Central is the hood, honey. It's the hood. Baby girl. It's where the gang members be. That's right. out where the numbers be. Okay. In the hundreds, bitch. 500. All that shit. Like, in the hood. In the hood. It was right across the street from Lincoln Park, I think it was, or something. It was a shelter called Home at Last. Again, bars on the window. Where I'm come from, what you need bars for, honey? Like, I mean, I've seen some bars. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's just bars on the window. But, like, if you know what kind of bars I'm talking about that's on the fucking windows, you know what I mean. I was just shook, honey. I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. Little Betty Bo Beep over here. Big Bad Wolf out here. Like, in here, Betty Bo Beep. Out here, Big Bad Wolf. It was not cute. It was scary. So it was sketchy. I went inside. I was shook. And baby girl, before I moved to LA, I was a booster. So if anybody ever wondered how the fuck I was so free all the time, because honey, I used to be serving looks. It was because I was a booster, bitch. Like, I would steal that shit. I would sell that shit. There was a long period in my life where I literally had to steal to eat. Like, if you're not stealing, you're not going to eat, honey. You will starve. If I didn't steal back in the day, like, I would literally go without. Like, I didn't have the money to do anything because of my situation. Like, I grew up hard, bitch. Like, boot gang shit. Whole lot of gang shit. You know? So, I did definitely steal and gluttony, and I stole to feel normal, I guess. Like, to fit in at school at the time in my life. Like, I don't know, it was kind of... It's stupid now that I look back on it, but, like, it makes sense, and, like, it's still, like, a part of who I am, kind of. Now I just go about it in a different way. I do a lot of thrift shopping, lots of community resource centers that have bomb-ass clothes if you really look through. So, I walked into this homeless shelter in my rock jeans. My jeans, those I did not steal. Those ones I bought with my first paycheck from one of my jobs. It was the biggest paycheck I ever got in my life. I was young as fuck. There's ants, and now I'm getting cringy, and I feel like I'm sitting on an anthill, so no ants in my pants, honey. So I was there in my rock jeans. So those jeans cost me like $3.50 or something. I was in there in my rock jeans. I had my Michael Kors purse. My Michael Kors purse retails at like $300. This little petty piece of shit right here still got this hoe to this day. She has lost all her value. She is stained on the inside, hoe. Okay. I have my Michael Kors purse on. I have my Tommy Crop. My Tommy Crop retails at like $250, I'd say. I had on my Tommy Hilfiger underwears, honey, and I think I had on my Converse, bitch. So it's not a lot. Like, I wasn't dressed in motherfucking Prada, honey, or no Louboutin, but like, to me, like, people don't know what I did to have to get the thing that I once had, and those meant a lot to me. And I know that even though, like, again, was not draped in no Louboutins, but like, I didn't look like no dumb crumb. I was cute or whatever, and so you could go ahead of me, sir. And so I knew what it looked like. Like, it looked like I did have a little bougie tint to me, because like, I had to have something. Like, I couldn't have nothing and not like try and fake the funk. Like, so I don't know what I'm trying to get to say is, like, I kind of just looked like I didn't belong there, and I heard them whispering about me because, bitch, I know I looked good. I knew I looked good. Like, I knew I was dripping in sauce. So I got there. It was weird. And there were cops. There were many people in the room. Like, I was always homeless. Like, I moved out when I was a kid. And there was that, and I stayed in like a youth shelter one time, but bitch, I had my own room. Like, it was a youth shelter. It was Briar Patch. If anybody's ever been to that, I feel like people have. You may or may not know what I'm talking about. They have a youth shelter in Madison. It's the only youth shelter in Madison that you can go to voluntarily when you're experiencing homelessness. It was not like this. This was the homeless shelter in the middle of South Central. Yeah, not Briar Patch. So, I was there, and I knew my friend. Okay, my friend, she was sketchy about it. She didn't know about it. She was like, I don't want you here. I don't want them being mean to you. Like, I don't want them to be mean to you. I don't want them to steal any of your stuff. I don't want you to get jumped. I don't want you to get stabbed. Like, I don't want you to get got, like, in any way, shape, or form. Like, since I landed in that city, she was like, I am your mother. Like, you're not gonna be out here, just focus. So, and I really respected that, and I still owe her so much, and I love that lady. So there was all of that hoopla, except I knew in my heart that I would feel wrong about basically feeling like I'm taking advantage of her, even though she was honestly wanting to help me. Like, I don't like, it's hard for me to accept help, especially help like that. Like, I don't want to have to stay at your house and sleep on your couch. Like, that's not what I want to do. And I didn't come here to do that. I didn't come here with you in mind at all, actually. I didn't even remember until I got here. I was like, who do I know who lives here? Oh yeah, my friend. So there's that. And then after all of that was said and done, I decided to stay at this homeless shelter to start the process of getting my shit together. And I had to do what I had to do. Like, I had to do what I had to do. So I stayed at that homeless shelter. While I was at the homeless shelter, she was helping me get into a transitional living program. That's what you're about to see right now. I've been here for almost 18 months. And so I'm in this transitional living program. Now, she got me in here about a month into my first stay in LA. There was a lot of paperwork. I had to go through the interview process. I had to make sure I was a good fit for the program. I had to get a TV shot. There's a lot I had to do before I could just like get into my program. And so, with all that being said and done, without her, wouldn't have made it this far in the beginning. Sure, I would have figured it out eventually, but not as smoothly of a transition as I was blessed to have. So, yeah, that's kind of how that all worked. I stayed there while I was in the homeless shelter. I was getting my GED. I dropped out of high school. Like, now I was a high school dropout, and I needed that. I needed something. I needed to get that out of the way. I knew I needed to get that out of the way. I have PTSD and anxiety and depression. So school was already difficult. It was always difficult for me. But I knew that I didn't have to. I knew I was smart. And so when that test came, I knew I was going to pass it. And I passed that test with flying colors, luckily, thank God. And I got my GED while I was in the homeless shelter. Series of 4 tests. They were not easy. Lord, am I saying they're easy? I was just lucky enough to pass it. So, yeah. And then I got into my transitional living program. This program has helped me with so much. They've literally saved my life. They offer me an opportunity to have free housing. So it's a transitional living program. If anybody doesn't know, that's basically like a long-term shelter. There's lots of rules and regulations and requirements. I have to be productive 40 hours of the week. I have to submit 30% of all of my savings. I have a curfew. I cannot have people in my home. if I leave overnight, I have to let them know. If like there's mandatory meetings, mandatory therapy, mandatory everything. And so they help you really hone in on adulting and like getting that part of your life together. And I'm blessed to have this program. And I'm just blessed to have made it this far in my journey to Los Angeles. And I feel like a lot of people get the wrong impression about what I've sacrificed in my travel here, in my stay here. I think that I highlight a lot of the positive things that go on through my social media accounts, because you don't want to focus on the bad stuff. You want to highlight the good stuff and the things that make you happy, and you want to highlight the moments when you look your best. Really, like, that's what social media is for. It's to spread positivity, light, not anger and fucking hatred, you know? So I am starting this YouTube series. It's gonna be a very much so way for me to stay in touch with people. It's going to be a diary, a documentation of my trials and tribulations in this godforsaken city. And I am doing glam. We're gonna be serving looks on this channel, honey. Looks. So, yes, I'm excited to get into deeper parts of that story, but that's just like the overall very beginning stages of how I transitioned here. And it took strength, it took courage, it took me stepping out of my comfort zone, stepping out of the place I was born to experience this goddamn place and to experience the world. And bitch, I have changed a whole lot. And I've been through so much, and I just want to share that with you guys, because I feel like I'm a character, and I feel like maybe I can inspire people to continue on. You have to keep moving forward. In this world, nothing is promised, honey, and you are beautiful. So like Post said, you better step in your tallest pumps, honey, because bitch, y'all know I be pumping. Puppet, period, boo. So I just want to say, for anybody who watches this, that you are Maverick. I am Maverick. That is my artist name, and you are Maverick. You are Maverick. Look into it. It's my word, bro. So we are about to go. And then tonight we are going to do the makeup tutorial look of this video. Okay. I love you folks, and don't forget, you too are Maverick. Bye.